You must not hide and think what you little men are doing is irrelevant. You are being observed by others. You influence your environment in a multitude of ways. It is one of the worst mistakes to do nothing because one is afraid of achieving nothing. Every effort for good has its effect. Every, even the smallest step in the right direction advances not only you yourself, but also your fellow human beings. A good solution becomes inevitably known, finds imitators, and spreads. Likewise, anyone who stays behind obstructs the progress of the whole of humanity. Humanity as a whole must reach the higher level. Your victory, your achievement is a partial victory for all on this path. Let people not be visited by the pernicious thought of the hypocrite. What does my thought matter to the world? Anyone who has thought in this way has yet to renounce the self. True, each warrior shoots just one arrow, but if everyone saves his arrow, the army will end up defenseless. For each one of you, depending upon his karma, his past lives, and his achievements, a place in hierarchy and thus a necessary task is reserved. It is crucial that you recognize and fulfill it to the best of your abilities. If your place remains empty, if your contribution is missing, the great work cannot be fully accomplished. Each loose stone weakens the tower. In a well-designed machine, each of its parts is indispensable. One should more often imagine oneself as a part of the universe. Agni Yoga is a philosophy of work, inner work to achieve mastership, and outer work in the service of the common good. The great dream of the new man and the new world can be realized only by strained, infinite work. It would be demeaning to others not to let them participate in the labors that fill our whole existence. To many work, the everyday toiling is an abomination which they try to avoid or take upon themselves with the utmost repugnance only. This attitude is unacceptable from a spiritual point of view. Every work that is necessary in the community or for the progress of evolution must be carried out with joy and love. Otherwise, it will have no value and will not yield any good results either. People do not think about the quality of their labor. They are unable to acknowledge the joy of creativeness. To them it may seem like chains. They are unable to love their daily labor and are unaware of the spiritual ascent that comes from it. No one ever informed them that great wings are created in great labor. One must understand work as a natural process that enriches life. Thus, every kind of work is a blessing, while the apparent cleverness of inaction is extremely harmful in a cosmic sense. Love for the endlessness of labor is in itself an initiation of considerable degree. Endless work is one of the basic conditions for entering the spiritual path. The community, being a fellowship first of all, sets as a condition for entrance two conscious decisions: labor without limit and the acceptance of tasks without rejection. Not pleasure, but joy in eternal labor is the destiny of the great and ascending one. Work is the only valid foundation of life. We have to provide for our physical needs, food, clothing, housing, every day through work. An improvement in the material conditions can be achieved by nothing else but work. In the education of the heart, the first concept to be put forward is work. From the earliest years, labor is established as the one foundation of life, as a process of perfectment. This approach eradicates the notion of labor being selfish, and at the same time, the child acquires a broad understanding of work for the common good. Without work, not one creature in the universe has a right to exist. Species adaptable to evolution must maintain their aptitude by labor. Animals must work. They must win the right to life. If even animals have to labor, then how consciously must human toil be applied? Laziness is a major obstacle on the spiritual path. Idleness is the enemy of the soul. It is most dangerous to indulge in the sweet poison of idleness. It undermines the discipline and weakens the power of the spirit, the psychic energy. Indolence is dreadful and can border upon crime. It is difficult to see the consequences of laziness, but it transforms a man into an animal. I confirm that it is one of the chief obstacles on the path. Inactivity is unworthy of a spiritual disciple. One thing is unknown to us: rest in inaction. Even making mistakes at work is better than doing nothing at all. Even a misguided action is better than passivity. Laziness is worse than errors. You should know, none of your efforts will ever be in vain. No striving remains without benefit, even though you might not recognize it. Know that no effort will be without benefit. Indeed, it may be of service to entire nations. Your work will not be lost. Every particle of love and courage you have put into it will be returned to you 1,000-fold. Remember, I promise this. In the present or in the future, for you or for others, in this world or in the world beyond, in this life or in a later incarnation, every work of quality must bear fruit. None of our efforts are ever wasted, and if not in this incarnation, such strengthening of the will bring good results in the next one. The followers of the teaching of life live for the future, in the realization of infinity, and therefore they know that no striving, no rhythmical or continuous effort will remain without results. The awful earthly conditions require endless work. Distress, suffering, dirt, and imperfection, which surround us in abundance, can be got rid of by nothing else but work. There is no other way. Each labor is a battle with chaos. Without work, you will not attain anything in a material world. Agni Yoga insists again and again. Down here on earth, everything is to be built up, stone by stone, with human hands and feet. All in this world is built by human hands and feet. Verily, the earth is to be saved by earthly hands. For the earth, all must be done by earthly means, in earthly conditions. Laudable resolutions, good intentions, great words, and thought constructions alone are by no means sufficient. Let them not fall into conceit, believing that it is sufficient to build mentally. No, the wayfarer will realize his achievement by human feet and human hands. The rulers of the earth want to see and have to require tangible results in everyday life. The acceptance of our testaments must be expressed by immediate, undeferrable action. The disciple must not be satisfied with a bad result and a good intention. All we need is a good result. Evolution, that is, overcoming chaos and perfecting the conditions of life, can only be effected by arduous and incessant labor. A state of the earth in which there is no longer any need for work, in which there is nothing left to be improved, to be refined, and to be elevated, is inconceivable for the time being. All have heard about the coming of the new era. Can the new arrive in inaction? To imagine Earth without workers is to see a reversion to chaos. One must get used to a state of constant work, endless and untiring, for the limitless process of perfection. The good, the better, is created only through deeds. Labor, create good, reverence the hierarchy of light. This our testament can be inscribed even upon the palm of a newly born child. Thus simple is the principle leading to light. In order to adopt it, one must only be pure in heart. Agni Yoga is service to good. Learn to serve good. Choose for yourself the heaviest labors and be an example for all. As the popular wisdom so beautifully says, es gibt nichts Gutes, außer man tut es. Or, in English, there is nothing good unless you do it. Know how to be good. In this one word is contained an entire world outlook. There cannot be any good without action. There cannot be any good where there is no labor. There will be no good where there is no opposition to evil. Let the co-workers show who is good and who is bad. Let them show who is ready for action and who prefers the lazy twilight. Darkness is not far from it. Every good work, however modest, contributes a stone to the construction of the temple of the world of the future. Every good deed transforms some particle of chaos. Each good action is a burning away of chaos.